Yo, 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 what it do, what it do? It's me, it's that wrestling dude. I'm joined here by the dopest redhead you'll ever lay its eye on. Oh, Ginger Spice, what's up?
What's up, guys? It's your boy Ginger Spice, the embodiment of Technicolor, coming to you from Oz. And we got a great interview coming up. Can't wait to talk to Alex Bryant. What's going on, brother?
Fellas, what's going on, man? Listen, I got to get this tagline in. So it's the one and it's the only. It's True Grit. Alex Bryant coming at you live with my guy, Wrestling Dude, the most powerful ginger
That's
in the
right, that's
game.
right.
I love
Welcome,
it,
welcome,
man.
man. Appreciate you being on. So let's get
Yes,
right
sir.
into it, man. Who trained you? How long you been in the biz? Where you based out of?
Oh man, I'm based out of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Most people know that because it's a huge vacation destination. I was trained by the Ring Wars Carolina Pro Wrestling Training Academy. It's in Hope Mills, North Carolina, and the head trainers there are Nightstick Eddie Brown, who's been around for about 28, 29 years, and also the Caribbean Tiger, who I think you guys actually had on before. He's been one of my trainers since I walked in the door, one of my mentors. He's been everything from a therapist and everything else. As far as time in the game, um, this past February made 4 years that I'd been training, but I actually didn't debut until September. So I'm getting close to that 4 year mark right here very soon, actually, which is crazy to think about.
Oh man, already. So what
Are
got you
you
into
from the Myrtle Beach area?
I'm from a small town. It's actually two towns over, probably about 45 minutes outside of Myrtle Beach. But when I got in, they told me, when you base yourself in the closest major city until you get to a certain level where it doesn't matter where you're from. People just recognize you anywhere. But when you're kind of getting your feet wet, you want to give people something they can resonate with. And luckily, the area that I normally wrestle in, Myrtle Beach is only an hour to 2 hours away from most people where I wrestle. So when they hear Myrtle Beach, light bulb goes off. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I didn't you didn't really think about that. It is true. Like people that don't know you, got to put them somewhere they can pinpoint exactly geographically you are. Because if you told them some Hobuck Town, South Carolina, then people wouldn't know what the hell you're talking about.
And that's that's exactly what I'm from originally, is a two red light farm town. If I said the name, most people would go, "What, does that even exist?"
So how'd you get into the business?
Oh man, so crazy thing is, right? I have a cousin who's been in the business about 20 years, man, on the indies, and he's been everywhere. And him and Nightstick are actually very, very close friends, almost like brothers. And honestly, man, I was doing acting and modeling, and everything was going good, man. I had signed my first contract. I was working with an agency, and then COVID hit, so everything was on a major pause. I couldn't do anything, and honestly, dude, I was sitting on my couch twiddling my thumbs, wasn't really doing much. And he just so happened to be coming up from Florida to do an indie show, and he invited me out. And I was watching some old school stuff at the time, and I was like, you know what, maybe I should give this a go. So I told him, and he's like, hey man, you don't have anything to lose. You might as well come up, check it out, see how you feel. Like, this is how you're going to get your start. And bro, I went up and watched the show, and I was hooked. I mean, because I was always a fan, but when you're backstage and you're watching this stuff happen and you're seeing guys go out and get that reaction, it's like, okay, I need this, right? So that was on a Saturday, February 2020, and I literally started training the next day, that Sunday.
Damn. So you
So what did you
naturally.
watch growing up?
Growing up, man, let's see, I was born in 93. So I started watching around 96, 97 is about as far back as I can remember, because my grandparents and my parents, and also, most of my siblings, cousins, aunts, uncles, everybody was huge wrestling fans, because we're in the mid-Atlantic area. So North and South
So
Carolina,
what?
um, they grew up NWA. So I had seen a little bit of that stuff, but like my stuff was like mid to end of Attitude Era, and then all of Ruthless Aggression. I watched a little WCW because my mom was a big Sting fan, and she liked Scott Steiner. So we watched a little bit of WCW, but most of what I watched growing up was WWF, and then the transition with the E.
Yeah, I think everybody got hooked on those days, man. I mean, that Attitude Era was something different. Like, especially if you're a kid and you turn on that TV the first time, see guys like Stone Cold and The Rock, man, it's hard not to get hooked when you're a kid like that.
Absolutely, bro. 100%. And The Rock's actually my favorite wrestler of all time. Always has been, probably since, I would say, 97, 98, man, he was my guy. And no disrespect to anybody else. There's a lot of guys I love, but no matter what the list is, for me personally, he's my guy, you know.
All right. So your mom was a big
What are you,
Papa
like
Pump fan too?
32, 33?
30, man. I'll be 31 in December. I was a late year 93 baby. So I'll be 31 in December. And it's crazy because most people see me and they're like, oh dude, you're 25, 26. Yeah. And I'm like, thanks. But I'm actually
well, that's the thing, me and Reese
30.
were saying that, how much of a baby face you have. But then I was like, well, he served in the military and you went to Iraq, and that we pulled out of Iraq a long time ago.
Yeah. I mean, it's the crazy thing is, man, is, you know, there's a bunch of military in my family, and a lot of people, when they first meet me, I don't know if it's just the way I carry myself or the haircut, but they always assume that I'm a man in uniform. They think I'm either a police officer or a security guard or firefighter, or they think that I did time in the military, and I actually didn't. A bunch of my family did, so those were my values growing up as far as like how I am as a person, how I treat people, interacting with people in public, and growing up in a very strict household. You know, it all comes from my family being old school and Southern, but also very military based as well. So, you know, I take that as a major compliment, but I always tell people, you know, I didn't serve because I would never want to take credit for something that I didn't do.
I could have swore I saw something about you being an Iraq War veteran on your page.
No, I have a bunch of friends that were, and I have nothing but respect for our armed forces. But me personally, no, I wasn't. But a lot of people think that, man, so it's cool.
So who'd you usually broke in as? Broke in as Alex Bryant? Is that who you were from day one?
Yeah, I was always Alex Bryant, but before I became before I got the True Grit moniker, which, you know, believe it or not, was bestowed upon me by the NWA World's Heavyweight Champion EC3. That's True Grit was his brainchild. He just wanted me to bring it to life when he met me. And honestly, man, he fed me that information for over a year. And I finally was like, okay, you know. But when I came in, man, I was the Playboy Alex Bryant. So, you know, pretty boy, nice haircut, clean cut, you know, small ass trunks. You know, it was just, that was the deal. And the reason I came in is because, you know, I don't know about a lot of other wrestling schools, but where I was personally, when we walked in our first day, you know, they break you down. They try to figure out who you are, where you're from, what you're about. You know, do you have an athletic background or whatever it was, you know? So you go through all of that. And then once they found out that I did the acting and modeling, they were like, oh, okay, this is easy. And they threw some horrendous names at me. And I was like, that's not working. I'm definitely not being that guy, you know. And I disqualified a bunch of stuff off rip. And then I kind of settled. You know, a friend of mine actually was making a joke one time, and he was like, man, you know, you're a pretty boy. I bet when you were in high school, you were a real playboy. And I was like, that's it.
There it is.
I'm rolling with it. So I was the playboy up until January of this year, actually. So for the blunt majority of my career, I was the playboy, but I've just recently kind of fully taken on this True Grit moniker.
That's cool. How'd you link up with EC3?
So there's a guy, I don't know if you've seen him, the Psycho Boy Fodder. He actually, he's married to Angelina Love from TNA.
Mm-hmm.
And he started training at Ring Wars probably about, I want to say maybe 4 or 5, maybe 6 months before I did. So when I got there, he was just breaking in. He was actually under a different name. He was working security. I was working security with him and also the ring announcer. And he owns a supplement company. He started interacting with EC3. That was around the time that EC3 had gotten released from WWE, and he had started the whole Control Your Narrative movement. And they brought Fodder in because if you've ever, and I don't know if you guys have, but if you ever see Fodder, he looks like he would be a psychopath. I mean, he's shredded, you know, he's a former bodybuilder covered in tattoos, you know, he just looks like he'd be a menace. And that's what EC3 was looking for. So, man, he bridged the gap. Like, he started working with EC3, and then slowly different guys around us in our working region started to kind of funnel in. And man, I linked up with him down in Orlando, and we just honestly and truly, man, he's a solid dude, and he's very straight up with how he handles business. We hit it off there, lost touch for a little while, but we just kept doing this, man. We'd go away and it just kept coming back, and we formed a very good business relationship, but we also formed a very good friendship just in our personal lives as well, because we kind of operate on the same wavelengths. And I think he told me that he recognized that about me first. And man, we just kept going like that. I did a loop with them in North Carolina 2 years ago, and did a couple seminars with him when he started the whole NWA Exodus deal. And man, we've just always kind of been tight, man, just always exchanging messages. And he's just a super solid dude, man. Very underrated in the game. And I think he's very misunderstood and very underappreciated. And I think people will realize that when he decides to hang it up for good. You know what I mean?
Yep. That's not a bad guy to have in your corner either, man.
Yeah, I can see that 100%.
Solid guy, man. And the thing about him is if he feels like you're a serious person and that you will put in the work and that you will uphold your end of the bargain, man, he will go to the end of the cliff for you every single time. And, I've seen him lose a lot of respect for a lot of people around him because, man, it's not hard to watch people fall by the wayside. But the people that have been serious with him and have listened to him and followed his guidance, all of them are successful. Every single one of them.
That's dope, man. That's dope. A lot of people don't get lucky like that and get brought under some people's wings like that. And when they do, it's brought under the wrong reasons and getting used and abused. So that's cool, man. You got a couple people like that in your corner like that.
Man, he has given myself and some other guys the opportunity. Like, I had a chance to work with Austin Aries. And, if you've ever heard any rumors about Aries, everybody says he's an asshole. Dude was always super nice to me. Like, from the first day I ever met him, he was super cool. We talked about working a match together at some point when his schedule opens up. And he actually just recently did a seminar, and then he was on commentary for a tournament that I wrestled in. And man, we picked right back up where we left off. And he was like, "Man, it's good to see you." He's like, "I think you got a bright future in this business." And like, he doesn't compliment a lot of people. That's just, he's not that guy. But I had a chance to work with him.
Austin Aries just comes off as comes off as a jerk because he's hungry.
Yeah.
Because he's a vegan and he never gets to eat anything.
He's a solid guy too, though, man. I mean, this is all me speaking from personal experience. He was a solid guy. Dude, I got a chance to work with Braun Strowman. Like, I mean, standing 3 feet from the guy, getting critiques and doing promos and doing a promo class with him and doing in-ring activities and stuff. And he's like right there, front row, watching and giving you stuff. And he's a super emotional guy, and he really gets invested. And if he feels like guys are buying in, he buys into them as well, just like EC3 does. And I had a chance to work with a guy by the name of Dante Smiley. He's out of Texas. If you guys don't know about him, definitely recommend you check his stuff out, man. He's all over the world. He's actually on a couple billboards in New York right now. Awesome dude. And August Artois, that's my guy, man. Like, he is a dick, but he's proud of it. You know what I mean? And the thing is
he might be one of the wildest people I've ever met.
Oh, dude, that's not a gimmick, brother. That's not a gimmick, brother. That's really
him. I know. I believe him 100%.
Yeah,
good for him. You know what I mean? He's living the single man dream.
Yeah, he's
I for one enjoy being married. So
he's a different character, that's for sure, man. But another one, dude, that like, he doesn't give a rip about a lot of people. But if you've ever worked with him or worked around him and some of the stuff that he's been able to do for the business, and again, he sees that you're serious and that you can live up to the hype, there's an underlining respect there. You know what I mean? And it's hard to get that out of him because he really doesn't give a shit about anything and anybody except for himself and his brother and his career. And I respect the hell out of that. But getting a chance to work with him and pick his brain and see why he operates the way he does, and then going down to Florida multiple times and doing stuff with him, man, he helped me get on indie wrestling TV, and EC3 helped me get put on pro wrestling TV. And like, dude, it's timing, and it's people seeing that you're willing to bust your ass and that you're serious, so.
So talking about
Opened a lot of
busting
doors,
your
man.
ass, what's your routine like? What's your like your exercise routine and your diet? Because you're pretty shredded, you lean. I see you all over there on your
I,
Instagram. Obviously, you have a modeling background and stuff, so it's not just right filters, right?
well, I mean, yeah, there's definitely some editing. it's not all it's not all 100% real, that's for sure, man. But nothing on the internet is right. So, honestly, man, dude, when I walked into the business, man, I only weighed about 140 pounds. I was a very small dude, and I'm just under 6 feet, so I'm not a towering figure, nothing like that. I was just an average height, skinny kid, and the Eddie, man, the trainer, he just looked at me one day and he's like, "Bro, I would love to do things with you, and I have plans." He's like, "But like, I need you to get bigger." And when he said it, I was kind of like, "Man, that's kind of a dick thing to say." But then I thought about it, and I was like, business wise, he's 100% right. So, man, I played football and stuff, and I wrestled amateurly for 6 years, played baseball, I did all that stuff. But man, when I got out of high school, I wasn't working out. And I didn't give a shit, honestly. Like I had no reason to. So when he said that to me, man, so
You said you came out
yeah, when I
140,
started in the
right?
business, I
You
was
were in the
one.
140s
Yep,
when you
140. I was
started?
like 140 and point 0.5 or whatever on a digital scale, something like that. But I was there, and I reached out to a buddy of mine who was a personal trainer, and I just told him, I was like, "Hey, man, I need to pack on muscle. I need to do, XYZ 1, 2, 3." He was like, "No problem, man. I got you." So got hooked up with him, got hooked up with a buddy of mine who's a nutritionist, started kind of helping me put together a diet. And dude, I started buckling down. Like there was a time where I was in the gym 5, sometimes 6 days a week, and then I cut it down to 4. And now I've been on 3 days a week for about the past 2 years. And it's just, I always tell people it's diet, supplements, and consistency, because you can eat perfect. Doesn't matter if you're not working out. If you're working out, but you're not dieting properly and you're not taking the correct supplements for what you're trying to do, like all of it goes hand in hand. You know what I mean? So, really and truly, man, every week or every morning when I get up, man, it's breakfast. I try to do a shake, and I take a handful of supplements. I'm not on roids or anything like that. But it's a handful of supplements that help me in my everyday routine of what I'm doing. And then, I divide my days at the gym like back and biceps, lower body focus and core, and then like chest, shoulders, tries. And, you know, some weeks it might be high intensity stuff where I'm doing low weight, high reps. Other weeks I'm going a little heavier, I'm lowering my reps. I may be doing drop sets. It just depends, how my week falls. And then me personally, if I have a show that weekend, I don't go crazy in the gym because I don't want to take a chance of hurting myself, but I still go, I still get my workout in, still get my reps in. I just do it in a manner where I'm protecting myself so that I don't have to miss a booking. You know what I mean? And that's pretty much it, man. I tell people all the time, there's no magic potion, there's no magic supplement, there's no magic food, there's not even a magic routine. It's a lot of trial and error because I tried and failed on a lot of aspects, but it's a lot of trial, error, and just, keeping going, man. It's the consistency is the major part.
You'd be surprised too, because you see, we've had a conversation with a couple guys like that of guys that come in this business and don't put the working in the gym, and you can tell like guys who look like a star put in that work, and guys who don't look like another schlub. Like you separate yourself by putting in that work in the gym.
The thing is how do you expect people to take you serious if you look like the guy sitting in the third row at the show?
Yeah, exactly.
No, but some
And the
people
thing
love
is,
that third row, hairy, big dude. You know what I mean? That's just
well,
like
I think
looks like a tractor trailer driver. The '80s and '70s were full of wrestlers like that, like Big John
Yeah, but
Studd and
it
stuff.
ain't like that no more though. No,
yeah,
like
well, the thing
one here and
is
there,
No,
but
nobody cared about that.
I
Those are
feel
old school
like
tough guys.
if you're going to play that role, your character and your ring work and your promos all have to align with being that guy, because you can't call yourself like a modern day warrior and you look like the guy serving fries at Burger King. No disrespect to anybody that works in fast food. I worked in it in high school. I respect it. It's cool. I'm using the analogy, you know, but if like me personally, right, I can't play the role of a truck driver. I'm 180 pounds. I'm cut up. I don't look like a dude. Disclosure, I do have CDLs from my previous job, but I never was the gut hanging over the belt, big trucker hat, scruffy face. That wasn't me. So it has to make sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, you can't call yourself a superstar if you don't have some type of star power. Or it's an aura, dude. I mean, you think back to when we were kids, right? You cut on your TV, you see Bret Hart, you're like, holy shit. Like, the dude looks like a star, right? You see Mr. Perfect, you're like, holy shit, he's a star. You see Andre, you know, holy shit, that's a towering giant. That's his role.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, Mark Henry was legitimately the world's strongest man, and he looked like a strong man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to, it has to make sense. If it doesn't make sense, nobody's going to take it serious. And the chances of you getting signed are slim to none. Okay, you look at Trevor Murdoch and Mike Knox, right? They look like two grown-ass men that are ready to beat the hell out of everybody in the bar or everybody at the nightclub if some shit pops off, right? That's their gimmick. They look like those two guys. But if they were 130-pound soaking wet guys wearing a denim vest and a hat, would you think they were really badasses? No. So it has to align is all I'm saying. It has to align.
Yep. I agree. So who'd you emulate when you first broke in? Who'd you try to be like?
Honestly, man, Shelton Benjamin, because I'm from South Carolina. Shelton Benjamin's from Orangeburg, South Carolina. He was always one of my favorites. And I think that he is, if there was a list for the most underrated workers in the history of professional wrestling, he's at least top 3, and I don't think he's 3.
I'd have to agree with that 100%, man. They never gave Shelton Benjamin the love he deserved, especially in the WWE. He was one amazing, you know what I mean?
Yeah. He was my guy, man. And, I always thought he was awesome, man, the way he could lead. I used to do there's some clips of it on my page, but I used to do that jump that he would do to the third rope to catch a guy in a suplex or like a Frankenstein or whatever. I used to do that all the time. All my dives to the outside, T-bone suplex. I did all that stuff to emulate Shelton Benjamin. But I would pull stuff from Bret Hart or Mr. Perfect or even The Rock, and try to pull some stuff from like Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. But overall, Shelton Benjamin was the guy that I'd say I probably pulled the most from, honestly.
It's not a bad guy to emulate yourself after.
No, man. Awesome.
Not at all.
So who would be your dream opponent, living or dead?
Oh, man. My dream opponents. Okay, so living, I would say my dream opponents would be Shelton Benjamin first, AJ Styles. I would say I'd love to work with Triple H because he's such a good heel.
Yep.
But of course he's retired, so that's not happening. And then EC3, of course, and then there's another guy in NWA named Tom Latimer. I would love to wrestle Tom Latimer. Deceased wrestlers, Mr. Perfect, of course. I'd say Owen Hart. And I think those are the only two that are deceased. Everybody else is just kind of like, just no disrespect. They're just of an age they can't compete anymore. But the two deceased wrestlers, definitely Mr. Perfect and Owen Hart, because they were just so freaking good, man.
So good, yeah. Those are two good natural in the ring, man. They made everything look so good, so smooth.
Oh, yeah, man. Of course.
So you've been surrounded by a lot of good guys, man. What's the best advice they've given you? Advice you've ever received?
Be myself. They told me to never try to be anyone else. Try to be the first me. Don't try to be the second coming of anybody else. And, do what felt natural and felt the best to me, especially, just getting started. Of course, if you sign somewhere and there's a corporate machine telling you what to do, you can only do so much. But while you're operating on the indies, or you get signed to a company that still respects you creatively, like TNA or AEW or New Japan, or even, like the NWA, always just be you and let people judge you off of what they see from you. You know, that's probably the best piece of advice that, and they also told me to be okay with losing friends and the people around me, because when you get serious and you buckle down and start to really focus on your career, a lot of people will fall by the wayside, and a lot of it is jealousy, and a lot of it is uncalled for hate, because people either want to be you or wish they could be like you. And they told me to just be okay with that, because no matter how good of a person you are in the world, somebody's going to call you an asshole, or somebody's going to say you're a dick. So be okay with that and keep it rolling, because they're not signing any of your paychecks or paying your payouts. So, bump them and do you. That's kind of what I've been told, that I felt like resonated with me the most.
What about the worst piece of advice you gotten? You got any trash advice? You're like, what the hell did this guy just tell me?
I don't know if I would say I've gotten bad advice. I think it was more of, sometimes people think they know what's best for you, and it may have worked perfect for them, but for you personally, you may have to go a different route. So I don't know that I've ever been given like terrible advice, because I'm very good about deciphering between who and what to listen to.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I just, in one ear, out the other, brush that shit off, keep it going. So I can't say that I've ever gotten bad advice. There was just, maybe some questionable motives behind why somebody said something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So what's been your biggest moment so far? I mean, I've seen you've been all over the place in such a short amount of time. What's been the biggest moment for you?
Man, honestly, dude, I would say the biggest moment for me personally would be, oh man, hold on. That's a little bit of a tough one. I would say a couple weeks ago, I got to wrestle in front of Kevin Kelly, and he was kind of evaluating us and giving us critiques and stuff. And that was awesome, because I remember seeing him when I was growing up on TV with all your favorites. But also, man, I won a tournament a couple years ago, and it was the inaugural one, first time ever. There were 40 guys, 6 different companies, and I actually won it. And that was big for me. It was the first cage match I was ever in. I don't think a lot of people would have bet on me to win. I think that there were definitely some other names in there that guys would have probably said, yeah, I think it's going to be him. But I ended up winning, man, and my whole family was there. My parents, my grandparents, everybody. And it's crazy, because where the cage was, the fence was literally right behind it. My mom was right there. Like, it was funny, because had somebody not moved her over, she would have completely blocked the hard cam spot, because when I won, she ran down the bleachers and got right in front of the cage and was like going crazy and crying and stuff. And that was a major moment for me, because that was the first time that I really felt like people were taking me serious in the business, because they entrusted me to carry that proverbial torch, man, and for other people to come behind me and say, oh, well, Alex Bryant won this tournament before, and they present you with the trophy, and the arena erupts. And shout out to the guy I wrestled. I had a really good heel who was getting major heat. So by the time I came out, that crowd was on fire waiting on him to get his ass beat,
Yeah.
So I would say those are probably the 2 biggest moments in my career, man. Like, I've won a couple titles, and I mean, it was fun, and one of the first title I ever won, it's, sentimental because it was the first one. But I honestly and truly, like, I got into the game to be the top guy and to be the heavyweight champion of the world one day.
Mm-hmm.
But I never wanted people just to base my career on accolades like titles, because I'm a firm believer that the title does not make the superstar. The superstar makes the title, So I just never got hung up on that. But winning an inaugural tournament, wrestling in front of Kevin Kelly, getting to do seminars with world-renowned superstars, and like meeting Billy Corgan from the NWA, those are the moments that mean the most to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. How do you prepare for like a cage match like that? Especially like your first one. I mean, you go in there and bang your skull against it a couple times to get that feeling. You just let it ride, and what happens in here.
Honestly, man, I tell people this. There's the only preparation for pro wrestling in general is training and consistency in the gym, because no matter what the match is, it's still a wrestling match. And, it's either you and one other guy, or it's a triple threat, or a tag, or a fatal 4-way, or a gauntlet, whatever it is. But at the end of the day, dude, it's another wrestling match, and you just have to be in a good headspace, and you have to be very conscious of your movements because anything can go wrong at any waking moment. You have to be very wise, but you also have to trust your opponents, and they have to trust you. So, man, honestly, dude, the only preparation I can give guys is take your ass to training consistently, take your ass to the gym, and don't be out here sloppy and hurting people, and just understand what your role is, man, and stay focused.
All right. You got a favorite road story that you're allowed to tell?
Man, honestly, I've been on a few with a lot of different guys, and I will say that I would say going to Orlando and seeing Braun Strowman sing karaoke and doing Hall and Oates was probably one of the funniest things, but also seeing August Artois he did a 90s R&B song. What was it? No Diggity. And he freaking killed it, and the whole place was going crazy. Those are probably the most memorable. I mean, I've been on some road trips, man, but a lot of times guys fall asleep. And most of the guys I wrestle with, I'm in a long-term relationship. Most of the guys that I wrestle with are as well. Some are married, some are engaged, whatever. And we try to be very moderate about what we're doing because you do hear about a lot of shit happening on the road. And now I've seen some shit at a distance, and I was like, oh no. You ain't about to my career up before it even gets started. You know what I mean? And I just kind of breeze right on by. Ain't taking too many risks.
Can't get away with anything nowadays anyway.
Man, there's a camera everywhere. You don't believe me? Try it.
All right, RWC still standing. You came out and got in the face of the RWC heavyweight champion Xander Keys, man, leading to a match with you two. Leading into that, you got any nerves going into a big match like that against the champ?
One thing about me, man, is I'm always super nervous before every match. And it's just because I'm somebody I take this shit serious, and I want to perform at a high level no matter what. And I want to make sure that whether you're cheering me or you're booing me, I know you worked hard to get the money to buy that ticket to sit wherever you're sitting in the arena. And a lot of times it's freezing cold. A lot of times it's hot as hell. And you still bought a ticket to watch me do what I love to do. So I know that ultimately my job is to give you your money's worth. And that's what racks my nerves because I just want people to feel that way about me overall. So, I wasn't necessarily nervous because I'm the type of person that I feel like I can have a good match with anybody at any level, that no matter what promotion or company or whoever, if I'm booked to do something, I feel really good about my chances of, just holding my own against whoever. So I was nervous, but not about the match, more about just, making sure that I was up to par and competing at a high level.
All right. Oh, James Anthony cost you that match, interfered. What's the beef between you two?
That is the never-ending rivalry in Ring Wars Carolina, is myself and James Anthony. We've been beefing and battling and fighting each other, and, we've beat the hell out of each other on multiple occasions. He's super kicked me probably 10 times in my career, and none of the 10 times was it fun. He's caught me with some nice ones. I'll give credit where it's due. But I just think that when it comes to me and James, there's a lot of competition, but I think it's healthy for the business because it makes me want to do better, makes him want to do better, and it makes other guys on the roster realize, like, hey, those two guys are going to go out there and kick ass. So we better be ready if we have to go after them, or if we go before them, we better set the tone, so.
Raise everybody's level of game up.
Yeah, and it's funny because we actually we finished it up at the showcase. He and I actually wrestled 1-on-1 in front of Kevin Kelly. So, and we had a solid match. He almost tore my arm out of the socket. But we had a good match. I ended up, getting the victory in that one. But, if I had to say it, it's far from over. If I know James as well as I think I do, he's not going to let that die. You know what I mean?
Beef continues.
Yes.
So, all right, moving on, man. You're recently in the School of Morton's Rock and Roll tournament, invitational for the tag team invitational. What was that like being in a tournament, a tag team tournament, by who some would argue is part of the greatest tag team of all time?
Man, honestly, I wrestled down at School of Morton very early in my career, and I'll be honest with you guys, it was horrible. I hope you never see the footage because it's probably you're going to be like, wow, we really took time to interview that scrub, you know, because man, it was super early, and I got put on the spot, and I tried to do my best, but it wasn't good. But honestly, man, that came out of nowhere because I'm not normally a tag team guy. I've wrestled 98% of my career has been singles matches. I've been in some bigger tag team matches. I've been in a War Games match and stuff like that. But 98% of my career, man, I've been a singles guy. And EC3 texted me and he said, hey, man, how far are you from Chuckey, Tennessee? And I said, about 5 hours. And he said, are you free for these 2 dates? I was like, yeah. He said, okay, cool. He's like, I need you and a partner to represent NWA Exodus Pro in this tournament. Do you want to do it? I said, hell yeah. I mean, how many people does a world champion reach out to and they're just like, nah, bro, I'm good. You know what I mean? Like, I'd have been a fool.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it was, dude, honestly,
August Artois would have told him to fuck off.
Yeah, probably, because that's who he is. That's definitely who he is. That's August 110%. But man, I went down and I love those guys at School of Morton, man. Scott Elliott, who's one of the main guys there, and then I can't remember what James's last name is, but super solid guys, man. A lot of good guys in the tournament, man. A tag team there by the name of XLG. It's Jim Stone and G Money, and I've been in a rivalry with Jim Stone for like a year. And me and G Money have wrestled. I've actually never beat G Money one-on-one, but we've wrestled each other one-on-one probably 12 times. He beat me last year for the Ring Wars television title. But I love those guys to death. I respect, game recognized game. I respect theirs. So they were down there with me. And then the Country Gentlemen, AJ and Casey Kazana, they represent Joe Kazana Promotions. They're in the NWA. They were there. The Void, David Barnabas Spector, who's a crazy good freaking manager and talks as good, if not better, than anybody in the business. Love that guy to death. He's been an advocate for me in my career as well. So just overall, man, dope-ass experience. Wish I wouldn't have got cheated in that second round. But when people can't beat you, they revert to, ulterior ways,
Oh, yeah.
So everybody knew who the better team was, but hey, you guys got the dub, whatever. We'll see you again,
All right. So EC3 put you guys together, you and Battleborn, Leo Fox?
Yep.
When I put you guys together?
Yep.
We're going to see you guys team some more in NWA and Exodus Pro?
Yeah, it's crazy because I actually met Leo down in Orlando when I met EC3. I met all those guys at the same time. It was like a conglomerate of people. And we've always kept in touch, follow each other on social media and stuff. And he's actually up training with them in Cleveland right now. I had got invited up to do that, but I just couldn't make arrangements at the time. But EC3 is really he's big on both of us individually. And I think he wants to put together a couple solid tag teams. And he just felt like with my gimmick and Leo's gimmick that, there's a good mix there. And I'm going to be the quicker, more technical guy in the ring. And, I'm going to be arm dragging people and hip tossing and body slamming and whatever. And Leo's going to be that brute that's just standing there like a caged animal. And when I do get the hot tag, he's just going to come in and murder everybody in the ring,
Yep.
So I definitely think that you'll see us again in NWA Exodus, and then you'll probably see us on Power at some point as well. Like, I definitely see that within our reach because, EC3 is that guy, man, and if he believes in you, you can go anywhere,
You're in that rub.
Yes, sir.
What's the biggest challenge? What's the biggest challenge of being in the tag team?
Honestly, man, it's just the transition because when you're a singles guy, you have to go out there and do everything by yourself. The only person you can rely on is you. And then when you get into the tag team aspect, you have someone to lean on, but there also has to be a certain level of chemistry. You know what I mean? Like when you look at the Rockers with Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty, or you look at the Hart Foundation, or, you know, the original DX, or you look at somebody like the World's Greatest Tag Team or whoever, even the Guerreros. You know, those guys eat, sleep, and breathe the same air, and they, you know, they train together consistently, and they're driving to shows together, and they're bouncing ideas off. And so by the time you get in a match, you know that man like the back of your hand, and vice versa. So one of the major challenges is just making sure that the chemistry aligns with both of you. If not, man, you know, it's the old divide and conquer, and you'll lose every time, you know?
Yep. So what's next for Alex Bryant?
Oh, man. I would say, let's see, this weekend I got a show, supposed to be in another tag team match, ironically. Honestly, man, I don't really know what the future holds. There's a lot going on, a lot of moving parts. I think I'll be back at NWA Exodus before too long, doing the tag team, and I think I'll probably do some individual stuff. And then I think NWA Power, man, I think that's one of the next moves I want to try to make. I'm in the process of, sending stuff. What now?
Where are they doing the NWA show that? Or is it just filming and then they release it?
Yeah, they do TV tapings in different areas. Sometimes they do it in Ohio. Sometimes they do Florida. Sometimes they do Alabama. It bounces around, and they bring guys in just like an enhancement talent. But, when you get an enhancement match, that's pretty much a tryout, because then they can see okay, well, this guy can work with, whoever's in the ring, whether it be, Trevor Murdoch or, Daisy Kill or Fodder, or even, sometimes guys will get a title match with DC3. It's just whatever they want to put you in. So I would say Power's definitely where I think I'm headed next. And then I'm in the process of getting all my stuff sent over to try to possibly get on AEW and do some stuff with maybe the Ring of Honor side, like the 0 Hour stuff, or, do Collision or Rampage, and just, just keep kind of building myself, man. Oh, and getting my passport, because I'm going to try to go to Germany next year.
Nice. I'm going to go to Thailand with August Artois.
Oh, no. Dude, listen. I would be homeless, man. There's no way. There's no way there's no way my lady would never co-sign that. She'd be like, "You must think I'm crazy." I'm like, well, I love August, but I can't. I'd have to meet him there and drive separately. You know what I mean? Definitely wouldn't want to get too tied in.
Men can live vicariously through him.
Hey, brother, I love it for you, man. I know you're having a great time, but I need somewhere to lay my head when I come back to the States. So
yeah. You want to call anybody out?
Oh man, you mean like for a match?
Yeah, anything, man. You want to talk some shit? You want to call anybody out? Whatever you want to do.
Well, let me say this, James Anthony, you still ain't shit. And Jim Stone, I haven't forgot you attacking me and costing me a couple titles. So, your ass is mine the next time I see you. I would say Tom Latimer. You've wrestled a lot of guys, and I've seen it, and it's awesome. And why don't you give the young kid from down south, why don't you give me a chance to come up to Power, man, and show you what I got? And then Shelton Benjamin, I know you're on the Indies again, and you're operating around the Carolinas and Virginia, man. So if you happen to see this, and you don't mind going one-on-one with another guy from the Carolinas, man, give me a shout, bro. It'd be a dream. And that's all I got, fellas.
I would drive up to see that match if it happened.
Where are you guys at? Like, where do you guys broadcast out of?
Orlando.
Oh, okay.
Originally Orlando, yeah.
Okay, dope.
I'm in Pennsylvania right now, so I'm on a little zigzagging country tour here. So I would love to go up to South Carolina and see some matches.
Oh yeah, man! Heck yeah, bro. The Mid-Atlantic region is some of the best wrestling on the Indies. I don't care what anybody tells you, bro. I went out to Cali and they loved it. They're like, "Oh my god, bro, we haven't seen that style in so long." It's just different out there. But
yeah,
that Mid-Atlantic wrestling, man, is dope, dude. It's awesome.
It's got all that history, man.
No, man. I met David Crockett from Jim Crockett Promotions. He's a cool-ass guy.
Yeah,
I got to I worked the NWA pay-per-view last year when they did the Crockett Cup in Winston-Salem. And man, I had a chance to meet him, Dr. Tom Pritchard, Rodney Mack, Jazz, Medusa was there, Chris Masters, bunch of guys, man. They were all there. That was super dope, man, just to be around them and be in that setting and see a pay-per-view happening live in front of you, man, and being very close to everything. And, you know, just, it was dope. Right. Dope shit.
Being able to soak up all that knowledge, man.
Oh, dude.
All that experience.
If you're not willing to be a sponge, you'll never make it in this business.
Absolutely. That's all I got, man. Mariano, Ginger, what you got for him?
I don't really have anything. I want to say just thank you, man, for you put your health and safety and life on the line for your for our entertainment. You know what I mean? It ain't easy being a wrestler. You're out there trusting other people, you put in your safety and all of that, and we really appreciate it. So we appreciate you. Thank you very much for being a professional wrestler. Thank you for the interview today. And that's about all I got to say, man. Thank you.
Fellas, man. I greatly appreciate y'all, man.
Go ahead and get your shit in, man. Where can they find you?
Man, listen, y'all can find me on Instagram. It's Alex _ I think it's Alex Bryant _ I think, or something like that, or
I'll
whatever.
Put the link down.
You know, you can find me on Facebook if you just look up Alex Bryant Pro Wrestler. It'll bring my page up, and then same thing on X. You can just look for Alex Bryant. It should bring it up, man. If you look for the code words like True Grit or Impact Player, because that's kind of a nickname I got too, as being the Impact Player. So you guys check me out, man. Give me a follow. I'm super interactive with people. I don't mind holding a conversation because at the end of the day, dude, I'm just a normal guy. I just happen to put on tights and beat up other men sometimes. It just happens. You know? But hey, man, real life, man. I want to give you guys a shout out because I think what you guys are doing is super freaking dope. And I've checked out, you know, the page, and I've seen all the throwback clips of like original TNA days, WWF, WCW, all that shit's dope, man. I eat that shit up, bro. My girl gets so mad because I spend so much time watching old shit, but it's like I love it. Yeah, you know, so you guys are like fucking dope, man. Awesome people. Appreciate you guys having me on, man. This has been a super dope interview. Both you guys are super laid back and down to earth. And man, dude, keep doing what the fuck you're doing, man, for the culture, bro. Like,
absolutely,
this shit's dope, man. Like, it's awesome. And some of the guys you've had on here, man, like myself and August and like freaking Caribbean Tiger, like, man, that's fucking awesome, dude. Like, you guys are really giving us another platform, and it's dope, man. Keep doing what you're doing, bro. Don't ever let anybody change y'all from doing the dope shit y'all are doing, because that shit is necessary, bro. There's too many fakers out here bullshitting, bro. And y'all are doing this shit for real. I respect the hell out of that, man.
For sure. Appreciate it. That's what we're trying to do, man, for you guys, man. To put the spotlight back on you.
We appreciate you.
Absolutely, man. No problem. And I'll put you guys over with fucking anybody, bro. I'll be like, if y'all get a chance to interview, you better fucking do that
shit. Appreciate it. Ginger, go ahead, man. Get your stuff in.
I ain't got nothing to get in. Like and subscribe to Ginger Spice. That's all I got, baby.
go follow him on OnlyFans. Go check out his OnlyFans.
Yeah, I got one of those too. Maybe I'll eventually post something.
You better plug that shit and make that money, bro. There's too much money out here to be made.
Well, the thing is, I have there, but it's so hard, man. It's so hard to be trying to plug this, man. I'm not trying to, like, I don't know. It's a lot of work, and I'm lazy. I'm so lazy.
Hey, man, I get it, bro. I don't have the energy to do it either. I thought about it one time, and I was like, nah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I'm like, whatever. You know, my bills are paid either way. I'm good.
Yeah, damn right. That's how I look at it. I'm like, I'm not that hungry. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, man. Appreciate it again. Thanks for coming on. Follow me, like, subscribe, That Wrestling Dude, DOOOD. Thank you again, man, Alex. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it, fellas. Y'all have a good night, man.
See you, man. Peace and love.
Later.